Eric, Abilene's got a player from Little Rock Parkview, Simmons, who's having a nice season. Just wondering what you're seeing from him and how fired up he might be to come in here and play in his home state.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking. The audio wasn't on at first, Bob. What you're talking about? 23 Simmons.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, he's from Little Rock. He's from Little
Yeah,
Rock Parkview and having a nice season. Just wondering what you think of him as a player and how fired up he'll be to play.
yeah.
Back in his home state.
No, he's an excellent player. He's a guy that can make threes. He's a three-level scorer. Can post up. Really good passer. He's a vital part of their team. Plays the 4 spot for them. They'll put him on elbows and run backdoor cuts with him as a passer. And like I said, I mean, he's a guy that can make threes and stretches the defense out.
And then I understand you've been practicing 2-a-days the last 2 days. We do that again today, and just kind of how's that been going for you?
Yeah, I think practices have been really good. We've been doing morning defense, come back in the afternoon and do offense, much like an NBA training camp many years ago. We haven't got, the time frame hasn't been long. It's been about an hour and 35 minutes, each practice. Yesterday, we went only about 45 minutes for the offense. Good practices. We'll go this morning and we'll come back this evening and just do shooting, which will be, non-coach related. It's just the guys in Bud Walton get shots up for 20, 30 minutes.
Do you feel like it's working well and you have a good vibe going into this game?
I mean, this team always has a good vibe. We've had great practices. I don't think I've talked to you guys much at all about this team not having good practices or this team not having good shoot-arounds. They've actually been as good a team as any team that we've had. They get along. A group of them went to dinner again last night. They got to figure out, and we have to figure out the chemistry on the floor. Most of the teams, it's off floor practice. We don't have any of that. Where it really counts between the lines, we got to get better at. The practices go smooth and the shoot-arounds go great. I mean, they know all the questions when we quiz them on personnel. They've got to figure out once they hit the floor, how we can play better basketball, as does our staff have to figure it out.
Thanks.
Curtis?
Hey, Coach, I'm sure it helps that he's been with you since the summer, but just curious how the acclimation's going with Keyon so far. And then what do you make of the dynamic he brings to the mix just as a personality and a teammate?
Yeah, I mean, great personality, high energy giver to coaches, and he's an energy giver to his teammates. But it's also, you're adding a player 10 games in, and you're adding a player to a roster where you got a lot of guys that have had good roles prior to Cup. So it's another added layer to what we're trying to do, and it's an added layer that comes in at a time when we haven't played our best basketball. It's coming at a time where we're a couple games away from conference play. So but this is the nature of athletics.
And I know Keyon's situation isn't related, but getting him cleared made me think about everything going on with the 2-time transfers, and the NCAA was cracking down and then they're delaying them. Now everybody's cleared, the court orders, all that. Just curious maybe what your thoughts are or where you stand on that. And then how did that impact the way you guys recruited in the offseason, not knowing if that type of player would be available or not?
Yeah, I mean, we've always recruited with what the rules are at the time. Plain and simple. And there's no gray area. We recruited players that were going to be available to play, that would have no sit-out year. Now at Nevada, we elected to want to take guys that would sit out. We knew they were going to sit out. We never asked for any waivers. We used those as development years, just as JD Notte. Like, we wanted JD to develop as a point guard during his sit-out year. The student athlete knew it, and as did the coaching staff. Having said that, I'm all for players having freedom. Just want to know what the rules are. When you're during recruiting cycles, but I think it's great guys can play. I mean, that's, you come from a world of, I've not been in college basketball that long compared to many of my, other coaches. And, I mean, coming from pro ball, you certainly want guys to have freedom of movement. You want guys to be able to make their own choices. And, but having said that, certainly, as you can tell on our roster, we did not have anybody that was a two-time transfer that would sit unless they were graduate students, which those become immediately eligible. So that's how we recruited. That's how we built the team. And, that's it.
Scotty?
Yeah, Eric, I was looking at some numbers earlier. I saw Abilene's top 10 in the country in free throw attempts per game. Just where do you place the importance of that in this game, and maybe defending without fouling or doing your best in that area?
Yeah, they do a great job of attacking the rim. They do a great job of high-low. Their bigs do a great job of ducking in. Obviously, number 24 at the small forward spot does a great job of turning the corner. They'll run a DHO and he'll turn the corner. They'll put a dribble drive guy on the elbow and let him dribble drive. Their backup point guard, number 10, does a good job dribble driving. Madden 21, is kind of a combo guard. He did a great job against UTEP drawing FTA. Simmons can draw fouls, and they're starting 4 and 5. Steele and Simmons can make 3, so that opens up the floor for dribble drive guys like 24. And then there are 2 backups at the 4 and the 5. Those guys are post up guys, and obviously when you hard duck in and you go high low, those will be able to create free throws attempt situations for people as well.
Is there anything that you can think of in terms of why maybe there's been that lag in off court and practice chemistry and then on court chemistry? Have you run into that situation before, maybe at any level?
I've run into the exact opposite. I've never, this is a first. I'm learning on the fly, because our practices are good. Work ethic is good in practice. We just got to carry over what we do, behind closed doors onto the floor. And it can also just be we look at the records of the teams that we have lost to. It's no excuse whatsoever. But Oklahoma is a top 12 team in the country. Memphis, look at the wins that Memphis has had. Look at North Carolina, where they've been national player of the year type player in the post. We have lost to 3 really good teams. Then you add in UNCG, they played well up until last night. And it happens every night. I mean, UCLA lost last night to Cal State Northridge. And Cal State Northridge played phenomenal basketball. I think you're seeing a changing of the way college basketball is right now. We've talked about it since opening night about, the number of upsets, so to speak, or quote unquote, that happen in college basketball. And it's in my opinion, I've never seen more than I have this year in the last 9-10 years.
The last thing I had, just what are you seeing from Jeremiah Davenport? Good, bad, indifferent? Just kind of what are you seeing?
Yeah, I mean, he's, when he makes threes, he stretches the defense out for us. He's a high energy player. He gives us an identity of energy out on the floor. Still trying to understand our second and third options on plays. I think that's one area that we need him to pick up all of our options as a new player. We need him to rebound more at the small forward spot, as we need all of our players to do a better job on the glass.
Hutch, final question.
Yeah, Coach, you mentioned after the game that Jalen Graham needs to defensive rebound better for you. And that's something you've said even last year. Is there anything technically that he needs to do differently in that regard, or is it more of just a mindset, mental thing for him?
Well, I think it's everybody, Hutch. I was just asked the question about Davenport and said that JD needs to rebound more. I've talked about our point guard's lack of rebounding. So I don't point the finger rebounding wise on any one particular player. You either got to go get the board or you got to block out. one or the other. And if you block out, you have to physically block out. And certainly, rebounding numbers up front become really important for us, whether it's Kai, whether it's Jalen, whether it's, Claw, all those guys got to rebound the basketball.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate
Thanks,
your
guys.
time.